Welcome to Run SDJ. I'm Steve and today I'm going to run through the setup of my training plan for 2 marathons taking me up to the end of 2025. I'm back using the training app Runna, and if you want to know my reasons for returning to using Runna, go back and watch this video where I talk through that decision. To begin with, for full transparency, this video is not sponsored by Runna. I'm under no obligation to make any content for Runna. They have provided me with free access to the app to try out some new features they've released in 2025, having been interested in my video from January 2025 about stopping using the platform. But everything I say here is my own viewpoint and they don't have any advanced viewings of my content. So let's get on with it. I am signed up to run the Amsterdam Marathon on the 19th of October and the Valencia Marathon on the 7th of December. Just as I was beginning a 6-month marathon training block in early July, I tore 2 ligaments in my left ankle, which stopped me running for 7 weeks. My injury has meant that I've obviously lost time and fitness, but also I've got to be sensible around my expectations for what I can realistically achieve, certainly for Amsterdam, given that my ankle is likely not 100% yet, and then maybe after Amsterdam, I can ramp things up a bit for Valencia. So I'm creating one training plan for both marathons with Valencia as my A race and utilising Runna's new B race feature to add in the Amsterdam Marathon mid-plan as a B race. So let's get going. In the Runna app, I'm going to start a new plan. I'm going to choose race and search for the Valencia Marathon. And there it is. So I'll select Valencia Trinidad Alfonso Zurich on the 7th of December 2025. Next comes the question about my running ability. Now I have ran 3 full marathons and many more halves, and I've followed structured training plans for the last 2 years. So I'm going to select Elite, but I don't currently want to enable Elite Plus for any extra mileage. Next comes the question about my estimated current race time. In this section, I personally think using an estimated current race time or PB from the race distance that you're training for, if you have one, is the wisest move. Not that long ago, Runna didn't let you put in a marathon time here, which I think went some way to massively overestimating my potential for the Paris Marathon in April 2024. Even though I had a marathon time I could have inputted from Gothenburg in September 2023, I had to go with a different race distance PB, which I ultimately think contributed to me missing my runner goal for Paris by about 30 minutes. So here I'm going to put my time for my most recent marathon, which is Chicago from 2024, which was 3 hours, 56 minutes and 39 seconds. Next, the question of how many days per week I want to run. Even before getting injured, I had planned on approaching my 2025 marathons a bit differently to my ones in 2024 and experimenting with running less days a week. So 3 was my plan then, and I'm going to stick with that. My reasons for what you might regard as not enough are that when I experimented earlier in the year with running less days a week, I got pretty significant new personal bests across half marathon, 10k and a marginal new 5k PB. I got to race day much fresher and able to give what I really felt was my best. Also, I don't just run, I also, when I'm fit, do Olympic weightlifting classes twice a week, so I want to factor that into my training. Coming back from injury, I want to give myself adequate rest and try not to run on consecutive days. And also, running now gives me the flexibility to add in things like a park run, so I'll probably want to do that on some weeks, which will up my runs that week to 4. So I have my Olympic weightlifting on Wednesdays and Thursday evenings, so I'm going to leave those as non-running days. And typically I do my long runs at the weekend, so for now I'll put Sunday, but I'll likely move some of these around to Saturday. I want my plan to start on the 1st of September, which will follow a week of running testing out my injury. Now, setting my training preferences is the first of the new features I'm pretty excited about trying. The reality is, for me, that I'm playing a bit of catch up with getting myself ready for Amsterdam, so I'm going to have to go with progressive here for my training volume settings. I'm going to set the difficulty to comfortable as right now I'm happy to just be doing easy paced miles with not too many hard efforts that might aggravate my ankle. I haven't been running over the last 4 weeks, so when it's asking me about my recent running volume and longest run, I'm going to have to guesstimate what I think I'll be able to do as an opening long run, as the real answer to that question is pretty much 0. So I'm going to say 15k for the long run distance and 25k for the week. Next, the other feature I'm excited about is the B race feature. Initially here, it doesn't give me the option for a marathon, but says my optimal window for a B race is in the window for when the Amsterdam Marathon is, so I'm going to find my race. Here on the next screen, it lets me remove the half marathon filter, and it does find the Amsterdam Marathon on the 19th of October. Next, it asks how I want to approach this B race. Pre-injury, I might have gone with one of the harder approaches of either strong and steady or going all out, but given where I am right now, Amsterdam is just going to be a run for fun approach. It estimates my training disruption for Valencia is going to be medium, so let's take a look at my plan. So in the first few weeks of my plan, I'm seeing a lot of easy runs between 5 and 6k, with either a tempo or interval session every other week and a weekend long run. My easy stroke conversational pace runs are set for around 5 minutes 50 per kilometre, which coming back from injury suits me. My tempo and interval paces are between 4 minutes 40 and 5 minutes per kilometre, which for the fully fit version of me would be a bit slow, but for where I am in my recovery feels absolutely the right place to be. My long runs are starting at 16k, adding 4 to 5 kilometers each week, and by the end of week 5 I'll be doing my longest training run of the Amsterdam build with a 32k run on the weekend of the 4th or 5th of October. Some of my long runs are just pure conversational pace efforts, while every now and again they factor in some quicker areas such as a progression run at the end of week 2 or a block run at the end of week 4. I think having had the benefit of experience training for my first marathon back in 2023, following a 7-week training plan, that has meant that this accelerated plan in the lead up to Amsterdam feels okay. I think without that experience, I'd be a little bit more worried than I am about the rate at which the long run distances increase each week. I've got a deload week quite early on in week 3 and once again in week 6 before the Amsterdam Marathon itself at the end of week 7. Amsterdam itself doesn't have any specific pace targets, but I'm personally targeting about 4.5 hours as a rough guide for pacing, hopefully running with a couple of friends at probably around 6 minutes 30 kilometer average pace, which will be my slowest marathon, but not far off my 4-hour 25 first marathon in Gothenburg. Week 8 is a bit of a recovery week, but with a 30k run just a week after the Amsterdam Marathon at the end of that week, that is the first real scary bit on the plan. Not only that, but that run is a progression run as well. I've got a plan in mind for that to hopefully make that run less scary by entering the Leicester Half Marathon and bolting on a 9k warm-up pre-race. And then my plan builds to Valencia with my long run maxing out at 34k in week 9, with my biggest training week in terms of distance overall coming in week 11. A couple of weeks tapering down in weeks 12 and 13 before Valencia Marathon itself at the end of week 14. So that's how my plan looks now, and certainly how it will stay until at least after Amsterdam, when I might consider having it factor in more hard effort runs. Given the estimated race time it's given me for Valencia is between 3:45 and 3:56, with my personal goal time being around that 3:45 mark, I might just leave things the way that they are. So hopefully you found this video a useful insight into a couple of the newer runner features and how I'm set up for my training for the rest of the year. Give this video a like and subscribe to my channel to follow along my journey to Amsterdam and Valencia, and I'll see you next time.